When you hear the name Arnold Schwarzenegger, you probably think of two things: the muscles and the movies. That's what made him a legend. Mr. Olympia, the Terminator, Governor. But way before any of that, back when he was just a 21-year-old immigrant landing in America, he was completely broke. Didn't speak much English, no job, no real plan. And yet, somehow, before he ever won a bodybuilding title, before a single acting paycheck came in, he had already set something in motion, something different, something that paid for his training, covered his rent, and gave him the freedom most people only dreamt about. He got into real estate, but not the way most people do. He followed a strategy that was smart, low-key, and surprisingly doable. And that move became the foundation of everything that followed. Fast forward to now, Arnold's worth over $1.1 billion. And a huge part of that still comes from the same strategy he started when he was broke at 21. That's actually something anyone could have done. Arnold didn't start with millions, and if you strip away the fame, the accent, the catchphrases, what you're left with is a blueprint, a real one. Because the way he built his freedom, that's a path a lot of people could follow. It's a reminder that you don't need a big break to get started. You just need the right mindset and maybe one small building that pays you every month. So, let's see where it all began. Alright, so here's where it really starts. Arnold didn't grow up with wealth. He was born in a small village in Austria, in a house with no plumbing, during a time when war and poverty were still fresh in everyone's lives. By the time he turned 21, he made the boldest decision of his life. He left home and moved to the United States. And when he got here, he had almost nothing, just a duffel bag, a thick accent, and big goals. No safety net, no connections, barely spoke the language. But here's what set him apart. He wasn't just chasing dreams. He came with a mindset. Arnold knew he didn't want to depend on anyone. He didn't want to get stuck doing jobs just to survive. So right away, he started thinking ahead. He entered bodybuilding competitions, ran fitness seminars, took on small coaching gigs, and instead of spending what he earned, he saved. Ruthlessly. Not for fun, not for stuff, but for something that would give him stability, something that could buy him time. He looked around and saw so many people were trying to break into Hollywood, willing to take anything just to get by. But Arnold didn't want to be one of them. He didn't want to survive. He wanted options. And that's what pushed him to try something completely different. Something most 20-year-olds would never even consider. Something that, as we now know, changed everything. After a couple of years of grinding, saving every dollar from competitions, seminars, and side gigs, Arnold finally reached a point where he could make a move. Now, most people at that age, they'd finally treat themselves, buy a car, upgrade their apartment, maybe flash a little success. But not Arnold. He took that money and bought a 6-unit apartment building in Santa Monica. Let that sink in for a second. He was in his early 20s, an immigrant, still learning the language. And instead of spending, he bought a whole building. He lived in one unit and rented out the other 5. Just like that, he had steady income rolling in, enough to cover rent, food, gym time, travel, everything he needed to keep chasing his bigger goals, without constantly worrying about money. And the best part? He didn't need to ask anyone for permission. He didn't have to take every gig that came along. That building gave him room to breathe, and that freedom was priceless. It wasn't some million-dollar deal, it wasn't flashy, but it was smart. And once he saw it worked, he did it again. And by the time the world started paying attention to him, Arnold had already built a quiet kind of success, financially solid, fully independent, long before the movie trailers and red carpets ever showed up. That first building? Yeah, it was a big deal. But for Arnold, it was just the starting point. After a few solid years of collecting rent and living way below his means, he sold the sixplex and took the next step. He bought a 12-unit building, then flipped that into a 36-unit, then flipped that into a 36-unit. And at that point, it stopped being a side hustle. It became a system, a real, repeatable strategy. Every upgrade meant more cash flow, more security, more freedom to keep building without taking on extra risk. While most guys around him were still hoping for callbacks or chasing endorsements, Arnold was focused on stacking real assets. Not cars, not watches, not hype, buildings, land, rent checks. And he didn't stop. He kept rolling those profits into bigger and better properties. Retail spaces, office complexes, full apartment blocks across West LA. Before he ever shouted, "I'll be back," before politics, before global fame, Arnold had already locked in something far more powerful, a foundation that couldn't be taken away. Built slow, built smart, and built way before the cameras ever showed up. Here's the part that really stands out. Because, sure, Arnold had the drive, he had the goals, but what made it all actually work was his mindset. He wasn't just buying properties, he was thinking long-term, way longer than most people around him. No shortcuts, no quick flips to show off, just slow, steady progress. Most people at that age would have spent their first big paycheck on something shiny. Arnold doubled down. He saved, he reinvested, he waited, because he understood something early. Success isn't just about making money, it's about what you do with it. And he also knew the value of focus. He didn't try to chase 10 things at once. He locked in on one clear path and gave it everything he had. Bodybuilding, acting, business. He approached all of it with the same core mentality: outwork everyone, stay patient, think bigger than today. And when things didn't go his way, he didn't panic. He didn't switch up his plan every 6 months. He trusted the process he built. That mindset, the discipline to stay the course, even when no one's watching, that's what gave him an edge. And honestly, it's a big part of why he was able to do so much in so many different areas without ever really burning out. Because when the foundation is strong, you don't have to scramble. You just keep building. So, yeah, Arnold became a global icon. Movies, politics, fitness, he did it all. But the real power move, it happened way before the spotlight. It was that first step, that quiet decision to build something steady, something that gave him freedom on his terms. And the best part, he didn't start rich. He didn't have connections. He just had discipline and a plan. That same path, it's still there. Start small, own something that pays you, let your money work while you work on your dream. Arnold's not some financial wizard. He's just a guy who played it smart, earlier than most. And if you're thinking it's too late, it's not. You don't need $1 billion empire. You just need that first step, the one that changes everything later. So yeah, we all remember "I'll be back," but this story, it's more like I started early and I never stopped. If this video gave you a new way to look at success or made you think twice about how freedom is really built, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're into real estate stories about risk, mindset, and building from nothing, make sure to subscribe. Now, if you want to know how Elon Musk risked $180 million of his own money to build Tesla and SpaceX from the ground up, you should definitely check out this next video. So, see you there. Best of luck.